I will explore Greece as part of Europe and the European Union, and also Europe's relationship to Greece, all the while trying to focus more on the soul aspects of Greece and its evolutionary course during the ages, and how the country has been affected in relation to personality aspects or form, both intertwined and separated. I take also into serious consideration the injunction given by the Tibetan master that the occultists should start from the greater whole and the universal, and then move to the particular and individual, and not the other way around. But that doesn't mean, of course, that I start from the solar system. Always very helpful to use in our thinking is the great law of correspondences, or analogy, logos. We know of union existing in the esoteric realms of the soul, and nations are like individuals, the collective kind, of course, having soul and personality in their equipment. We explore this concept with regards to the European Union and recognize its essence rather than getting distracted by the many problems and dysfunctions of its outer expressions. Diversity might be a better term to look upon than separatedness. I'll try to describe this journey from the past into the future through the present time, taking into account that our Western civilization is today at a crossroads and at a turning point, just before a new revitalization or regression. And if possible, from the point of view of the world citizen, to look at the transitory role of what we call homeland or nationality. Not absorb too much in the past, not reaching out too far into the distant future, but standing in the dynamic equilibrium of their meeting point at present, if possible. Looking at middle points, there is a myth about Delphi, the ancient Greek sanctuary and oracle place of Apollo, the sun god, upon whose temple the famous inscription, "Man, know thyself," was written. This myth tells that Zeus, in his attempt to locate the center of the earth, has sent out from Mount Olympus 2 eagles in opposite directions. The 2 eagles, starting simultaneously and flying at equal speed, crossed their paths above the area of Delphi. This marked the center of the world, and at this point it was where allegedly Zeus placed the stone of Omphalos, the navel of the earth. Gaia was the Greek name for earth, Yi in Greek, and at this site an archaic veneration of the primeval mother goddess took place, whilst not surprisingly the name Delphi etymologically derives from the root Delphis, meaning womb. In ancient Greek's concept of the world, continents were part of Gaia, hence physical entities and offspring of gods and goddesses, titans and heroes, relating supernatural and natural, heaven and earth, cosmos and man, rather than mere land masses surrounded by waters and oceans. Greek mythology, the myth of Europe, and Hesiod's theogony reflect and hide these ancient truths. In the ancient wisdom teachings, we read of the life which expresses itself through 7 planetary centers or continents, and also that in this fixed root race, it is with 5 centers out of the 7 that we are concerned. These externalizations, which are called the 5 continents, Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia, America, are said to be the product of 5 signs, Cancer, Leo, Scorpio, Capricorn, Pisces, related to the 5 great races, of which our present race, the Aryan, is the fifth. All these appearances, expressions of qualities and material evidences of life, are the symbols of outer and visible signs of inner and spiritual realities. In this sense, these 5 continents are to the planetary life what 5 major endocrine glands are to the human being, related to 5 centers. To be mentioned here, the word endocrine, it may be noted, is from the Greek word krinin, meaning to separate. Reflecting the ancient Greek notions of the unitary human parent, although in the old conception, Europe, Africa, and Asia were usually envisioned as forming a single interconnected world island, the Orbis Terrarum. Therein, Mediterranean Sea, a child of the great Atlantic Ocean, once the territory of the Titan Atlas, the bearer of the heavens, was, according to its name, pointing to the middle of the earth. Middle of the earth in Greek is Mesoidios, meaning exactly middle of the earth. It was by the late 19th century that the old parts of the earth had been definitely named continents, with the separation between Europe and Asia remaining central to the scheme. The Oxford English Dictionary, compiled in the decades bracketing the turn of the 20th century, recounts the transition as follows. Formerly, 2 continents were reckoned, the old and the new. The former, comprising Europe, Asia, and Africa, which form one continuous mass of land. The latter, North and South America, forming another. A future development is presented to all disciples in the book Education in the New Age. It refers to the 3 great continents, Asia, Europe, and America, and to their contribution to a triple unfoldment as far as the Aryan race is concerned. To this triplicity is given the analogy of soul, mind, and brain, and their analogy to man when they will be functioning as they should and in right relation to each other, producing coordination and correct alignment. A man, is then said, will then be instinctively correct, intellectually sound, and intuitively aware. Perhaps a distant image of the planetary Antakarana in the construction process, implying also the idea of direction through 2 phrases known to many of us, of the light which streams ever from the east, and also of the tide of life that moves from east to west as moves the sun. The sun was the image of divine intelligence or wisdom. The word soul, sun, was derived from solus, the one or he alone, and the Greek name Helios meant most high. This comes from the secret doctrine. Let us also take into account that in the teachings, light and life are synonymous and interchangeable terms. In this context, to notice that the name Europe is attributed to the Phoenician word Arab, where the sun set, and Asia from Azu, the word of sunrise. And it was only from this central area of the ancient world where many civilizations developed, flourished, and then declined, that one could look at the part of the sky where the sun is rising, calling it Orient, and to the other side of the setting sun, calling it Occident. Therefore, ancient Greeks naturally did consider themselves and their land to be a midway or navel of the world. As in the outer, so in the body. As in the body, so in the other. This is an ancient axiom from the Buddhist Kala Chakra teachings tradition, which emphasizes the similarities and correspondence between human beings, inner Kala Chakra, and the cosmos, outer Kala Chakra. Under this angle, we may find significant the Tibetan's work that the Eastern and Western hemispheres functions like the right and left lobes of man's brain. And more specifically, it is said, in one lobe, the reasoning mind has its seat, which the other is responsible for the imaginative emotional faculties and the power to visualize. In addition, and confirmation of the above, the seat of the word brain, serving as the point of diffusation of the planetary nerves. This image is of high symbolism, bringing to our minds the picture of the optic nerve fibers, which after diffusating at the optic chiasm from the optic tract and are then divided into two bundles. And looking closer, we may recognize also the symbol of the cross, taking shape. Chiasm is a Greek word, chiasma, with its first letter being a chi, X, and it explains as crosswise or quincunx, possibly explaining the 5 points of X, the first letter, or chi, the first letter of the name of Christ, Christos in Greek. The significance of this marvelous structure, planetary and human, is portrayed in esoteric healing, where Master DK tells us. One hint I can give you. The optic nerve is a symbol of the Antakarana, and the entire structure of the eyeball is one of the most beautiful symbols of the threefold deity and the threefold man. This unity in diversity is further elucidated in the letters of the Truth Meditation. The Orient is to the evolving race of men what the heart is to the human body. It is the source of light, of life, of heat, and of vitality. The Occident is to the race what the brain or mental activity is to the body, the directing, organizing factor, the instrument of the lower mind, the accumulator of facts. So we might say that at their midway, meeting and cross point of time and space, analog to a greater midday time, a unique spiritual event took place, changing the course and giving a new impetus to our planetary evolution. It is precisely described in the book Bethlehem as follows. In that strange little country called the Holy Land, a narrow strip of territory between the two hemispheres, the East and the West, the Orient and the Occident, Christ mounted the cross and fixed the boundary between the kingdom of God and the kingdoms of the world, between the world of man and the world of spirit. Taking Taking his stand beside all the previous crucified saviors, Christ assumed the ancient symbol and burden of the cross, embodying in himself the immediate and the cosmic, the past and the future. Thus, he brought to a climax the ancient mysteries which had prophesied the coming of that kingdom and instituted the mysteries of the kingdom of God. Connecting the 5 dots of the key, X or cross, we may find a clue in the vibrating center of their crossing lines of energy, a midway point. We are told that the Master of all Masters took incarnation in Palestine, that slice of land which is midway between Asia and Europe, and which partakes of the character of both. Consequently, midway points can be seen as centers of dynamic activity and tension, fields or planes of transition and of temporary instability. Hence, they may indicate a crisis, as the one indicated for the sign of Virgo, the crisis of the birthplace. It is assumed that such a crisis took place in ancient Greece, with its rising sign in Virgo, initiating the awakening of the intellect, reason, logos, and logical thinking, and bringing as their fruit, condensed in only one called the Golden Eon, a bright culture of human achievement in sciences, arts and crafts, philosophy, politics and warfare, rhythm and beauty, ethics and law, to enumerate only a few. Not to forget that the thinking principle is the main characteristic of humanity, which is the midway point in the consciousness of the Creator. It shouldn't be seen of minor importance that through the Greek language, its logos in Greek, in wide use all over the known world, the message of Christianity and Christ's teaching traveled through the Gospels and was spread relatively rapidly westwards. Resuming, it might be said, for our Western civilization, that it flourished from the roots of the Oriental wisdom and through the vital stem of the ancient Greek and later Roman civilization. Nevertheless, the spiritual realities of our world are still hidden from our eyes under a thick veil. Today, the whole of humanity is at a crossroad between 2 greater time cycles, the Piscean era expiring and the dawning Aquarian age. Yet their overlapping, portrayed in a form of Pesita Pisces, holds within it, as in a womb, the divine golden triangle, with Christ as at its center of heart. Coming back to the 3 great continents, Asia, Europe, and America, and to their contribution to a triple unfoldment, as far as the Aryan race is concerned, which is the 5th, or with another numeration, the 3rd race, we can realize in their correspondence to soul, mind, and brain that the European continent stands midway, thus related to the mind nature, in which the Antakarana is anchored. Within the body of the planetary logos, humanity is slowly building that which they call the Antakarana. This is in reality the linking thread between the head center of Sanat Kumara and his heart center. The European Union consists of 27 member states, known as European countries, may be characterized as the most critical and important European project of modern times. Based on European ideals, cooperation and partnership, is not only for Europeans important, but also for the world. We may well assume that behind this group experiment stands the hierarchy, its masters, and the prize from his office as the unifier of East and West. Working today in the conference and for the next 3 days in group formation, with meditation, sharing reflections and in discussion, let us sound forth the keynote of the soul of our nation, fused with the greater group soul as an integral part of the soul of Europe. For Greece, ruled by the sign of Virgo, the keynote is, I'm the mother and the child. I, God, my mother am. For the whole of humanity and the soul as the force of evolution, let the keynote be sounded. Christ in us, the hope of glory. Thank
you. If everyone wants to ask any questions about Christina's work. Someone asked, Christina, I'm interested to tap more into your work. How do I find your website or contact?
Sorry, I didn't understand. Oh, a website or what?
Someone asked, how do I find your website or contact? Someone is interested maybe in finding what you are doing. I don't know if you have a website or not.
I have an email. I don't have a website, which can be found through Michael or Philip, I think.
Yes.
Christina, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed a lot of that. I've been running around trying to do tech things here. Just my microphone. But I was trying to tell you at the beginning that you have the full 45 minutes if you wish to present the whole talk, because we can overlap into the next music interlude and cut that short. So if you want to, you can go much longer. We have another 20 minutes if you want to.
I had a written talk, which I couldn't actually extend, and to notice that I also sent to Michael in the my talk, to put it in the chat box in case that my pronunciation is a little bit Greek Australian or something like that, and people couldn't understand me well, but they could read it also.
Sure, fine. So, anyone in the audience would like to make a comment or question about Christina's presentation? And there's a question from Irina here. I'm not sure whether you've covered this one. Christina, how is the Greek Orthodox Christianity, how does that play a part in your work, if any? Like me to read the question again?
Yes, please, but I'm not sure that I can now answer it through my poor English, actually.
That's okay. The question is, how is the Greek Orthodox Christianity plays a part in your work, if any? Did you understand?
I'm not sure. I'm still not sure. And I don't know really if I can.
Greek Orthodox Christianity. How relevant is it for you in your work?
This is, I think, or should be part of the world religion later. But there is also an excerpt in the teaching saying exactly that Christianity is a bridging religion.
Mhm.
Which is related in how I see the division or the fusion or fission between the two hemispheres. The division between Orthodox Christianity and Catholic is, I think, around the Good Friday and Resurrection Day, but I'm not able now to give more details, or I wouldn't like to see the differences so much than the common ground.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Irina also asked, you mentioned the name of Christ beginning with X. Tell me more about this meaning.
The X is an old symbol of cross, and the X starts because it's the He letter in Greek alphabet. And even if we take Christ, the crew, let's say in sound crew, then Radia says us that it is a very important root, but also Krishna starts like this, and Christ and crisis in the Greek origin. And he also says that this is a symbol of the sorry.
Okay.
I forgot the word, and I'd like to say that Christ is coming with sword in his next incarnation, and that Kri, this root I was referring before, is a word that is a dagger, meaning a dagger in some South Asian language, I think, and brings at the beginning of the words, which are forms of ideas. So, the choice, the crisis, something that has to be divided before it is resynthesized again. And if you saw in this slide, these 5 points, which are the quincux, you can put on the X we mentioned before, 5 points that are on the edge of the letter, but also this is the most crucial one in the middle. And this brings to our theme the midway, which in the teaching is very important for all disciples to stay in the midway on several planes.
Indeed. Thank you. I think Blavatsky has a variation of this X that is a Pluto symbol that you can see in ancient churches and which is related to Scorpio. But that's another story, of course. Anyone else in the feed there would like to post a question or comment?
I don't know if Alexander still wants to ask, but his hand was up.
Okay, Alex, Linda, I'm still here.
Thank you, Christina, for your presentation. Yeah. A lot of things to reflect, and yeah, especially thank you for sharing the file with the presentation. My question is about the situation, how you and your group recognized the situation of conflict that's been for centuries between Turkey and Greece. And in a way, it's part of the same ancient heritage that two of your countries share. And do you recognize any way how this conflict has been, or if not, will be transmuted into harmony? It's a big question.
A very good question, but not easy one.
Yes.
Yes, yes. I have the feeling that this divide between East and West, being, of course, like on the point from East to West and from North to South, which is somehow located in the Aegean Sea, let's say, dividing Turkey and Greece. It's in our minds. In this sense, not that it doesn't exist, but I mean, it's a mindset that is long inherited. The feeling of Greek people, or for me actually, is that we are not just neighboring lands, Turkey and Greece, but also like more brothers, I would say, although Greece has been for 400 years under the Ottoman occupation and things like that. The newest events, which is the earthquake in Turkey a couple of months ago, I'm sure you all know about it. And recently, an accident that happened here has smoothed a little bit, but not for long, of course, this conflict, let's say, which was on the top of our tongue, sorry. And perhaps gives the idea of life has more fantasy, and that we have to shape our ideas, feelings around what is right, and not how we are feeling as nations, I mean, also and individuals. It might be that there is a soul union, and Turkey has a soul of Scorpio, I think, which makes with Greece the two signs which are triple signs. And there is a soul union, I believe, but it may come to a greater conflict, because this is how it works before the synthesis and the union. I'm not sure, it's just how I see things, and Yeah, I don't know if I answered really or I just painted my thoughts. Alexander.
Yes, Christina. Sorry, I was muted. I realize it's a very big question, and there is no straightforward answers to that. But it's
From one point of view, Alexander, it's the problem for the whole Europe, not how Greece is seeing Turkey, but how Europe sees Turkey. If you remember all these things with Angela Merkel and her relations and the other nations with Turkey, and how to accept it as a European member or not, it's about how Europe sees its neighbors on the Orient or on the West, on the North or on the South, being in the middle.
Yeah, thank you. I think it really adds to our expansion of understanding how conflict works, ancient conflicts as they unfold now and leading forward. I think what you said about sharing soul quality and being soul brothers, it's a very deep point to reflect. Thank you.
Mhm.